Welcome back everyone to the Hello World Guy, and this is episode number 2 of the intermediate 3D first person game that we are making. And in today's video we are going to complete our graphic controller by adding camera movement and also actual looking around and jumping and stuff. So if I try to move around right now, you can see that my player can kind of move around, even though the speed is too slow. I'm going to change the speed of the player to something like 7 or 8, let's say. And I'm one more thing I'm going to do before adding anything else. I'm going to add a folder here called scenes, and I'm going to rename this outdoor scene to just something like game, and just reload, and that should work. And then just put this in the scene folder. Alright, now I'm going to go under script, and I'm going to open up my camera look script. In that should open it up in VS Code, which is my favorite editor, and just remove the first two using tags. And what we need to do in here is also remove this and remove that as well. Let's go under here and all right, let's go under here and let's not here and here, and add in a serial light field here. And this is going to be a private well, what we need to make it, we can do anything we like actually. And what I'm going to use for this field is transform. You can use something like a gain object, you can even use player, but I'm going to just have a transform called player. You can use anything you want, as I said before, but well, we are going to use transform because transform, every game object does have a transform, so you will have to apply the same thing. You can also use player, but that would these things would cause a little bit of problem. For example, if you use game object, you will have to say player dot transform dot something, and then now you can say player dot something directly. So what we are going to do in the update method, I don't think we need the start method for now. I'm going to remove this, and of course we are also going to add in yet another CLI field here, a private not protected how do we call it? A private float here called mouse sensitivity, and let's add that to something like 100. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the start method back because I think we actually need it now. And what we need to do with this start method is we need to say something like we have got our we need to basically lock the mouse, so that if I go ahead and say cursor dot lock state is equal to cursor lock mode dot locked. This means that the mouse will disappear as soon as it will basically get locked by the game, and it won't go out of the window, and the player won't have a terrible time. So this is going to be necessary. And in the abate method, what we can do is we can just say something like player dot rotate, and this is a method of the transform class. And for the Eulers, we need to say vector3 dot up. And why do we need to say up? Because up is the y-axis, and that's the axis we want to rotate around. So if you rotate around the up axis, that will cause us to well, rotate correctly. So yeah, we need to do that. And I'm going to just multiply this by a inputs dot get axis, and the axis name is going to be mouse x, and this needs to exactly match. I hope it is like that. I will test by going on Unity and seeing if it gives an error, because we need to make everything match, including spacing and capitalization and everything else. And just let it compile, and once it has, just hit play, and if it doesn't give any errors, that means that it works. By the way, make sure that your main camera has got the camera look script and the player transformed is assigned. And I'm going to hit play, and let's see how well that goes. And it happens to not give any error, it seems. Alright, and I can move left to right, and that does cause it to work, even though my mouse sensitivity is a bit less. I'm going to change this sensitivity variable here to 5. And what we can do is we can go under here and we can multiply this by our mouse sensitivity. And an important thing that we missed is that we need to multiply this mouse sensitivity by time dot delta time, and doing that should allow us to it will basically allow us to make sure that our game runs at a constant frame rate. And we might need to make this something like 200, because now we are multiplying by time with delta time. Is going to be a little bit problematic because it's going to reduce the value a lot. So let's just let it compile, and once it has, let's select our main camera and come on and set something this to something like 200. And now let's run the game and see what it looks like. And you can see that well, let's see. All right, it is quite normal at 200. It looks pretty awesome. You might want to reduce it down to 150, and there, yeah, that's actually a bit better. I'm going to actually have the final value as 130. So I'm going to put that in, and now we have done that. We need to now make it so that our camera can also move up and down, and that only needs to rotate the camera, not the player's body. So that will be on this object transform and not the player. So yeah, how are we going to accomplish that? Now for that you might be tempted to just copy this and paste it and change this vector 3 to up dot to vector 3 dot right, and instead of player just use this transform. Now will that work? Well, let's see. So let's open up Unity and let's compile, and this is not going to work actually that well, but let's see. Now we are moving according to the right axis and on this camera, so it should actually work. Oh, by the way, we need to use mouse Y here. I just realized that. A little bit of a problem, but let's see, and let's let it compile inside of Unity. And oh, by the way, it can actually recompile while it's playing, which is a very good thing. And now you can see that all right. Oh, and it does work, even though well, it does not exactly work that well. But the point is that I can actually just go all the way around. So I can actually just look directly down, and I can also turn. So the camera is having a unlimited 360-degree rotation, which is something that we don't want. And of course it's currently also a bit of a problem with a bunch of stuff. Well, we'll fix that, but the point is that this is not the way to do it. So yeah, we need to basically limit the actual rotation. Now how are we going to do that? Well, we can actually do it really easily by using just these three lines of code. All we need to do is we need to create a vector tree called rot, and we need to set that to you can call it anything by the way, and we need to set it to transform dot rotation dot Euler angles, and we need to in the end set the rotation to transform dot rotation to quaternion dot Euler with this rotation vector that we have got. The reason we do that is because you can't modify the axis mod directly, so it's kind of a problem. Yeah, that's what you need to do. Because if I try to say something like this, so something like saying this directly, then it does not work. So now this works. We can set rotation dot x is equal to method dot, and this is the heart of the function, and we use the method dot clamp function to clamp in between 0 and 180 degrees. Now if I go ahead in Unity and I hit play now, and let's just hope that it works, and let's just well, click the button here, and well, it's not exactly working that well, because this is leading to somewhere like, okay, it is kind of a little bit of a problem. Yeah, it's not working that well. And how are we going to fix it? Well, the reason is that Unity's rotation, automatic rotation, is a bit of a problem, so we can't actually use it this way. One better way to do it will be to have another private float here called x rotation, and each time and instead of calling this transform rotation rotate method, we go and say x rot minus equal, and we add this value here. We subtract this from the x rotation, and in the end what we do is we set this transform dot rotation is equal to quaternion dot Euler, and we pass it our x rotation, and then our then 0 and 0 for the others. And what we do is in here we just say something like x rotation and is equal to math f dot clamp, math f dot clamp, come on, and you can just pass it x rotation and then say 0, oh not 0, negative 90, and here say 90, and this will actually work. So yeah, this is going to be a lot better. It's simpler, and it has it's actually going to work, because now we are not relying on Unity's system of rotation. So now if I go under Unity and I let it compile, then everything should be working, because it was going from 0 to 90 and then to from 180 to 270. That's the way that the rotation was working, which is totally a bit of a problem because we are using the rotate function. But now everything should be working. So you can see that, well, now I can look around, and I have got my rotation completely limited, and for some reason I'm having a bit of a trouble trying to look left and right. Let's check that out. Well, the problem is that we need to use local rotation here in order to prevent the camera from going in the wrong direction, and I have switched to the 2 by 3 layout by the way, just to show you. And if I hit play now, what you should see is our camera and player, everything rotates correctly, because if using rotation, it was rotating the camera so that the camera is always looking at the same direction. And now everything is working, except the fact that our player is actually not moving correctly. It's moving not in the direction that it's supposed to. And well, that should not happen. So let's open up our player.cs, and what let's do is let's try to multiply this by transform. You can see that this is current the code that we have got right now. And well, this is exactly not working exactly, because if I hit play, you can see that it is always moving according to the world transform and not the player's transform. So yeah, we need to make it move according to the players transform. And why is it not working? I'm trying to play the game here, and let's hit play and see how it goes. uh, well, all right, it's playing now. And you can see that no matter where I look, the player always moves towards that direction, which is not something that we want. So how can we fix this problem? So all we need to do to fix this is really simple. We are going to just cut this code here, and I'm going to add it to our move vector instead. And each time, and when we are doing this, I'm going to say transform dot forward multiplied by move dot z, and we are going to say plus transform dot right multiplied by move dot x. And this is actually going to work perfectly. So let's go under Unity and see that it actually works. And I think it will work, believe me. And let's just let it compile. And once it has compiled, you can see that I can move, and I can now move in the direction I am facing, and everything is relative to that. So this is pretty much it for this video. Now we have got a working character controller, so I will see you in the next video, in which we will add jumping and gravity. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos, and well, bye.